Okay. That was rough. Hey guys, I think I just made it 9:16. Class ran a little late, so I had to run over here. But I'm live, I hope. And today I wanted to do, well, depending on how many people come in and who comes in through chat, going through whatever College Board test or SAT test, practice test, otherwise that people wanted to go over, because the October SAT, as you guys know, is this Saturday, and it is the, I ran over here from work because I don't want to be late, so give me a second. Yeah, and as you guys know, it is the last time that we're going to be able to have the SAT score in time for early admissions, as in, so could you send your application in for earlies and then take a test in like November and send it in? Yeah, you could, but then you're not going to know what kind of score you have. Okay, hello, I've also joined on my phone so I can keep track of the chat without showing the chat on my screen too much. Okay. All right. Yeah, I think. Yeah, so that's how. Yeah, I was just testing what it looks like on the screen. Yeah, so I'll wait for people to come in, because rather than just giving general advice and so forth, which hopefully a lot of you guys have already heard, I wanted to focus today on like going over specific type of passages. Especially for common passage types, common question types that people have already done or reviewed, and therefore they wanted me to go over it. And I'm going to give people a few to come in. And now I am set and ready. Yeah, so we'll give that a second. And while we do that, I'm going to actually pull up on my screen here. I should have, I have this pulled up. So I have the whole, whatever SAT test you guys want to go over, we could do that. Yeah. Actually, that's my default samurai background. SAT. Yep, and I also have access to tests, because I do. Yeah. Okay. So I have the chat open. Oh, hey Rohan. You've been asking questions all through the comments and stuff, and I've been trying to get to your questions as quickly as possible. And I'll reiterate, and actually, should I type it into the chat? Oh. I'll also write it in the whiteboard that I have pulled up. Any question from any SAT. Yep. So I'll answer any question from any SAT test that you guys want me to do. You can put the question in the chat as a comment. Oh, hey Ibrahim. Hello. Yeah. Guys, there aren't that many people in the chat at the moment, and I don't think there are going to be that many people coming in anyway, because I didn't really advertise this ahead of time. So feel free to use this like pretty much as a one-on-one almost session. Grammar practice test 3. Practice test 3, as in, do you mean College Board test number 3? Do you mean College Board test number 3? Yes, no? Yep, okay. So I'll go over that first. And yeah, feel free to ask whatever question, guys. For instance, if other people have questions, I'll just go kind of back and forth in answering something from somebody else and something from another. So I have this. So College Board test 3 PDF. Let's get to it. 2-page view. I have all that. Okay. Test 3. Yeah, Ibrahim, feel free to type in the chat whichever questions you want to go over. You can type them all in at once, and I'll just kind of manage which ones to go over. Also keeping in mind what other people are asking for in the chat. And as always, you guys could also shoot me questions through our email, which I always forget the name of. But yeah. Oh, did I get a question in the email? So I think I got an email notification just now. Nope. It was a notification from Cora. Yep. So not super important. Okay, question 10, 18, and 20. And 29. Keep in mind, guys, there's about an 8-second delay on the live. So from the moment you type it into the chat and to the moment it shows up and I respond, there may be a bit of a delay. So these are questions being specifically asked by Ibrahim. But I'll try to address everybody so that I can give you guys, like, this is how you do these questions, which is literally my whole point of doing these things, right? Okay. Yes, let's do it this way. Okay. So I haven't really made videos, like, at all for the grammar sections. I think I only briefly touched upon them in the live streams that we've done. So let me give you guys advice on this. So when you do these, and for number 10, which is the one I'm going over right now, and those of you who had classes with me, you guys should know, in the writing section, guys, when I have the no change, I have to first identify what's wrong with it. What's wrong with the default? Identify what's wrong with the default and then pick the answer that fixes that error. Right? Don't be plugging everything in because that can be very time consuming. Oh, and let me put you guys through the terrible thing that is the infinity mirror for a second. Okay. Because I want to give you guys our email. Yeah, now it's going to have infinite things. YouTube@.com. So you could also shoot questions there. And I will try not to do the whole infinity mirror thing ever again. Hopefully, yeah, I won't have to. Okay, going back to number 10. Okay. Right, so let's identify what's wrong with it. Starting from 9. Businesses can install light tubes. These are pipes placed in so right away. So, guys, feel free to like answer questions. So what's wrong with it as it is? It's a run-on. Okay. So if I identified that it's a run-on, then I need to make it not a run-on. So when I teach the classes, I make this repetitive as possible. So if I have a run-on, what are my ways of fixing a run-on? I'll just number actually. 1, put a period, start a new sentence. 2, semicolon. 3, colon. 4, comma, fanboys. 5, make one of them not a sentence. Okay. So for number 10, it should be C. Why? This is a run-on sentence because these are, that's a new sentence. B, they are, that's still a sentence. So my answer here is C. So you say, doesn't D kind of work? Okay. I don't want to give, like a super extreme statement, but if I have the word being, that's really, 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 really unlikely to be the answer. So number 10 here is C. So again, what are the steps? Identify that is a run-on sentence because we have one sentence, business can install. Another sentence, these are. So I need to make one of them not a sentence, so that is C. So that's number 10. Number 10 is C. Okay. Yep, and I am keeping my eye on the chat because I have my phone open, I have my Chromebook open, I have everything open here. So we'll go over number 18 and 20. Hopefully I can get them in one screenshot because I'll be efficient. No, I can't. Hey, Jeff. Hello, hello. I used to go by... Did I used to go by Jeff? Not really. Kinda. I think that was the first English name my dad chose for me, and I just never used it. Okay, so we are going over number 18. Okay. Oh, this one's interesting. Okay, number 18. Yeah, you can send questions to the email or the chat, right? So for number 18, this is an interesting question, actually. Because these are all, like, grammatically fine. So this is different from before. Response to the advertisement was overwhelming, even tremendous, and Harvey soon. So it's fine as it is. Really? This is an interesting question. Okay. What does College Board say as a reasoning for this? Number 18, what is the rationale? Yeah, okay. This is the thing. There is nothing wrong with 18A. And if you were to write 18A, I would not mark it off in writing if I were an English teacher. But let me tell you the SAT justification. In order for me to use this construction, it was like, it was good, even great. If I set this construction, this has to be a more extreme version of the first thing. So like, yeah, he's pretty good, even great sometimes. Sure. But is tremendous a more extreme version of overwhelming? I don't know. Yeah. So the answer here is B. And like, I don't really want you guys to think too hard on any of these things. Okay. The answer here is B. Why? It's grammatically fine. And it's the shortest. That's it. So that's B. It's grammatically fine and it's the shortest. Yeah. And if you guys think that, oh, like, I still have questions, like, why couldn't it be C or D, like, feel free to ask in the chat as well. If not, I will move on to the next question, which should be 20. Which is my most likely follows the previous sentence. Okay. I remember doing this question. A lot of people asked about this. Okay. So for number 18, let's see, could I see the answer choices? Okay. Yeah, I'll do that. I'm trying to see. Oh, because my stupid face covers up the screen. Hold on. I can move my... Go here. Let me make my display capture. Okay, I don't know how to work this. So I'll just scroll it up. Right. Okay. That's a very good point. Alright, I can fix this. Okay. I'm just like doing this from my house today, guys. So it's a little bit more, a little bit more raw than what I typically have. Let me minimize my face and also put it here. Yeah. I'm gone now. Cool. That should be better. Yeah, because my face is really not the important thing. Right, it's the questions. There you go. Much better. Okay. Yeah, this one. So, you guys, not all of you guys have done this test, so I'll just read it. In return for the server's work, the position paid quite well for the time. $17, $17.50 a month, blah, blah, blah. So I have it paid pretty well for the time. Did you put... Number 20. Did you put D? That's what people usually put for this. Number 20. Maybe. Again, there is a delay in the chat. Okay. So, let me actually show you guys through the actual test here. When you do the writing section, and you'll be asked things like, oh, what is the thing that fits best here in terms of the content and so forth? So the writing sections are written badly on purpose, right? So Ibrahim, you did choose D. That's the most common answer. Yep. Okay. What is the point of the passage? The title. Transforming the American West through food and hospitality. So what is the point of this passage? That whatever they're talking about here was revolutionary and transformative, and it was a very big deal. So going here, in return for the server's work, they were paid quite well for the time. They got paid really well. So, and what else do I want? It changed things that are happening. So, number 20D. A lot of people pick that, but excellent at the time is the same thing as paid quite well for the time. Redundancy. So you want to think more of like what kind of categories does SAT test use? There's a category of wrong answer choice called redundancy. That's why it's at. So the answer here is C, because This paid really well, so it was really good. We think this is really good. We like admire it. Okay. And whatever it is, guys, this is the reading and the writing. Whatever I have a passage about, it's like, whatever I'm talking about, I think it's important. That's what I'm talking about it, right? I think it's important. So, let's cheat a little bit. These girls did a really great job. They changed the world. They were transformative force. So all of this was, it was woman empowerment. They were able to do good things. So the answer here is C. And also, this thing adds info. I know I'm spending a lot of time on this question, and this is repeats info. Okay. So C is like, okay, it paid well for the time, therefore they were able to do stuff. But D is, it paid well for the time, and it paid well for the time. Repetitive. Redundancy, SAT is really, really against redundancy. Because they are. And I think one more. 29. Okay. And guys, everybody else, like whoever is in the chat or whatever, feel free to ask any questions from any college board test. Right. I'm going to have to zoom out here. Okay. 28. 28 should be B. Let me check. I mean, I'm reasonably confident it is B. Okay. So the explanation for this is rather simple. Some fruits do not respond, so I have do not. Right? They do not respond as well to MCP as others do. Do not, do. Parallelism. Oh, 29. I misread, yeah. I was like, yeah, I don't think you would get 28 wrong. Yeah, 29. Oh, okay. This, I can give you the... Okay. So 29, you probably chose A. A lot of people choose A for this. Let me zoom that in. Okay. So the trap answer here is, so this is what you can't rely on, like, just like the quick tip for grammar, especially. I know I gave like the quick and dirty tips for reading and stuff, but like, you have to actually know the principles behind it. For instance, there was a guy on Instagram, he does like SAT, ACT prep, whatever, and he makes pretty good content, but he was like, knowing that on ACT and SAT, however, always has 2 commas around it if it's in the middle of a sentence, right? That's not true. Similarly, a lot of people look at this like, oh, for instance, it's in the middle of a sentence, I put 2 commas around it, that's right. Which is probably what you did as well when if you got this wrong. Okay, let me write on this for a second, actually. All right. Because if I say, yeah, it's in the middle of a sentence, I have 2 commas, you're assuming that it's a sentence. Is this one sentence? Take Bartlett pears, for instance. 1 sentence. Unless they're treated with exactly the right amount, they will. This is another sentence. I thought it's a long sentence, but this is 1 sentence. So what is this? It's a run-on. Yeah. Right? So if you guys have been doing SAT for a while, one of the first things I would have checked for the what's wrong with it as it is it a run-on? It is. Now this is a little bit not so typical because it looks like it doesn't have a subject, but guys, if I go like open the book. That's a sentence. The subject being you. Right? So it's like, oh yeah, take Bartlett pears, for instance. It's like it's telling the reader to take that as an instance. So it's 2 sentences. So if it's a 2 sentences, what do? Semicolon. Yep. That's it. Okay. And I don't really think there's anybody in the chat at the moment. Although I think there were some people who said they were going to come in. So I will give it time. Yeah, so it could be exact questions, like we've been doing. Or it could be, oh, colon, semicolon doesn't matter for this. Colon and semicolon can both be used to divide 2 sentences. Actually, we should go over the difference between semicolon and colon. So the difference between colon and semicolon is they can both be used to combine 2 sentences. Colon means additional info And this is... That's what a colon's for. Okay. So I have a finished sentence on the left side. And to the right of the colon, I provide additional info about this. Semicolon is just sentence. Sentence. And these are kind of related. They don't have to be super related, just kind of related. That's semicolon. Okay. Hello. What is that? Striker edits? Sure. Hello. Hello, hello. Yeah, so we're going through, like we've had just now, we've had exact questions from particular SAT test that we went over. We could also have general questions you guys have about a type of passage, type of question, type of section. As I look through our emails or anything, no? Yeah. So we could do that. Okay. You have the exam on Saturday. Good luck. It does not. That never happens, Ibrahim. The dependent clause cannot come before the main sentence in the colon. Take Bartlett pairs, for instance, is a sentence. Like if I say, like, take this book, that's a sentence. Take the test, that's a sentence. Like, it's a command. Tips for reading. That's pretty broad. Let me pull up a reading passage. That is pretty broad. Tips for reading. Let me zoom out. If you have the test in 2 days, especially, right? It's pretty broad. But if you have 2 days, especially, yep. So you want to make sure that you're not. Oh yeah, I guess this would be the main thing. Don't waste too much time reading through the passages before you answer the questions, because this I tell all my students. Oh, let me pull up this. Yeah, write it out. Write the top tips for reading and stuff. Okay, so do not spend too much time writing out. Right, do not waste time reading too much of the passage before you answer the questions, because when you answer the questions, you will go back into the passage and read it again anyway. Okay, so one. So a lot of the subscribe shoot know. You read the blurb, intro, then the conclusion. For the body paragraphs, well, why is that a 3? That should be a 2, right? 2 comes after 1. Okay, for the body paragraphs, read first sentence of each of them, because the first sentence should be the topic sentence. Note, this does not work for this narrative, which is the first passage. The first passage, you just kind of have to skim the whole thing. Okay. Identify. Type. Topic. Purpose. So our goal for the reading is to have done enough of the SAT reading passages so that I have a database in my head of the types of passages that I've seen over and over again, right? And topics that I've seen over and over again, and the type of purposes that each passage will have. For instance, as you guys hopefully know pretty well, if I have a historical passage, which will be either passage 2 or 4, out of the passage 2 or 4, whichever one is old, is historical passage. So for that one, the purpose is going to be to argue, persuade. It's a lot of you guys hopefully know this already, right? Persuade, or call to action. These are all kind of the same thing. Like, that's just how historical passages go. They argue that there's something wrong with their society, and we got to get people more rights and stuff. So let's take a look at the particular test I was looking at. So for this one, passage 4. This is the historical passage. Just look at the blurb. And how do you know it's historical? 1791 and 1792, right? Old. And what is the topic about? You read the blurb. Passage was adapted from Talleyrand et al. Report on Public Instruction. So I know it's about education. But let's keep reading. Originally published in 1791. Passage 2 is adapted from Mary Wollstonecraft, A Vindication of the Rights of Woman. So and it's about women's rights. What about women's rights? Women's rights in education. I already know all of that just from reading the titles here. Then I read more context. Originally published in 1792, Talleyrand was a French diplomat. The report was a plan for national education. Wollstonecraft, a British novelist and political writer, wrote Vindication in response to Talleyrand. So I already know how this probably goes because it's in response. So, this is about women's rights, about how women should be educated. One of the passages has to say women should be educated because that's like the right thing to say. And I know that also this one says in response to, right? So just from this, I know that Mary Wollstonecraft is going to be saying, oh, vindication, by the way, vocab, means to prove to be correct or to justify. So I know from here that Mary Wollstonecraft, passage 2, wants women to be educated. That means passage 1 probably didn't want women to be educated. So I already know the type, topic, and purpose for this passage. So the type of passage for this is obviously the historical passage. So historical, type, topic. Woman should be educated. And then the purpose will be to argue that women don't need to be educated, passage 1. And passage 2, women should be educated. And what is the passage that we're going to be agreeing with? Obviously passage 2. Because, yeah, that's the correct side. Right? Okay. Yeah. Do we have any? So that's, yeah, you would approach every passage like that. And I have covered this in my video, like every SAT passage type in under 3 minutes or 4 minutes, whatever it is I said. But yeah, you would also want to drill yourself with what type of passages are very common, uncommon, and so forth. For instance, okay, I just wanted to scroll down, but my screen's freaking out. Do you want to have a Zoom call? Saturday. Well, I mean, you could just, because tomorrow I have no time, because I have no time tomorrow. I mean, you could ask whatever question you want now, because, like, there's literally 3 people in the chat right now, I think, like, and one of them's me. Like, I think one of them's me on my phone. So, you could ask whatever question, or go over, like, if you have, like, particular test you took, we could literally go over it right now. Because I'm gonna... Usually I plan my lives to be, like, 30 to 30 minutes an hour, but we can go over, like, whatever you can. Yeah. Yeah, so you can just use this platform, to be honest. And, like, that's, like, why I'm doing the live streams at this stage, even though, like, not a lot of people coming in. So that people who do want to have, like, feedback and stuff, like, you can pretty much do one-on-one. Because, like, yeah, I just went through, like, 4 or 5 questions that a particular student, subscriber, had from a test. I just went over all of them. And I could go over more. Yeah. So, yeah, sure. See a passage you've done or a test you've done, long as you can send me, like, the test date or the whatever. I could probably find it on Google. Or if you throw it into the chat, I could just go over it through the chat. That's also fine. Yeah, if you could throw a URL to the chat, that's also good. Let me see. Yep. Just checking my email to see if there's anything else. Yeah. May 2018 SAT writing. Oh, sure. Yeah, I'll Google that and pull it up. May 2018 SAT video. Yep. Came up. Show 2 pages. US. Sure. Is it this one? The one that starts with, it was not often that she came to the place, stirred to the heart, core by actualities. Is this the right test? As I wait for the lag. Yep. Okay. Yeah, sure. The writing section. Sure. I'll get to whatever question. Yeah, you can just, like, put them all in the chat. I'll go over them. This is what I wanted to do today. Yeah, whoever wants to come in, get one-on-one-ish, right, through the live stream, they can. 13, 14, yeah, sure. 13, 14. This is not the highest quality printing, but best transition from the previous paragraph. Oh, yeah, I don't like these. Because I have to go back to the previous paragraph, okay. Okay. Okay, so for 13, which choice provides the best transition from the previous paragraph? I know it does ask about the previous paragraph, but and 13 and 14 are together. But okay. So the whole point of this paragraph is the author wanted to kill Sherlock Holmes. And how would I know that? By looking at the non-underlined portions? Oh, just 14? Okay. Information falls in the paragraph. Okay. So let's look at the whole sentence. And you notice how these all have colon. And I might have said this, I did say it early in the stream. If I have a colon, that means the stuff to the right of the colon adds to the stuff to the left. So that's be, the beach is my favorite place, colon. Whatever things I love about the beach. So I have, after the colon, what do I have? Devising the intricate plots of the stories took a great deal of time and effort, and Conan Doyle wanted to dedicate his energies elsewhere. So what is it? It uses up a lot of energy. Okay. Okay, so for 14, what did you put? Okay, Ibrahim, thanks for joining. And good luck with your test, and let me know how it goes. Okay. And so for number 14, what did you put? For 14. As I wait for the chat. You guessed A. Okay. A. I'm weary of his name. That's a good trap, actually. Okay, let me actually move this to the screenshot because I want to write about this. So this is what they do all the time to try to trap you. Okay. We have the word weary. And then we have time and effort. And we have energy. So a lot of people would put A here. Weary, time and effort, and energy. Okay. Which is probably what you did. However, name. I am weary of his name. Weary means tired. What does that mean? I'm tired of hearing the dude's name. What is that? I'm sick of it. Okay. So they put in a trap, putting in the word weary, and then putting in like time, effort, energies, and all of that. So what did he want to do? Let's just read the rest of the paragraph. So he wanted to dedicate his energies elsewhere. He wanted to write other stuff. Right here. He wanted to instead write on historical epics. So what is he thinking? It's really the next sentence. Believing the Holmes stories to be lowbrow work, he instead wanted to do this. So believing that the Sherlock Holmes stuff is not that great, he wants to do something else. Therefore, the answer here is C. He thinks that Sherlock Holmes is not that good. Yeah. Oh, and lamented is like, it's a bit of a dramatic statement. It's like, lament is like to be really sad about, to like mourn. But yeah. So a lot of times you can get the answer a little bit better by, you do have to read at least the entire sentence that is given. But a lot of times for the more difficult questions, you read the sentence after that. That'll give you a more straightforward evidence. So he believed that this Sherlock Holmes was bad. He wanted to do other things. So C. Sherlock Holmes is not that good. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, anything else? And the few people who are in the chat, you guys could ask me questions about the math too. Like, sometimes kids are like, oh, are you good at math? I'm like, I mean, I guess. I did get a perfect score, so. Sure, I could do that. Like, you mean like a whole live test? Like, you haven't done it before? Or, hold on. It would probably be better if you have a test that you've taken relatively recently, because, like, for example, for reading, I can kind of go through and like, oh, this is a thought process and so forth. But for writing, does the thought process really help a lot? I guess I could do more of a... we could do a demo-ish of going through a passage from any writing test. Sure. Let me pull up a test. Let's see. SAT test. Yeah, I'm pretty sure like there's a blog thing. Yeah, just tutoring box. So hopefully this loads. Okay. We'll do this one. Yeah, why not? Okay, I know I said I wouldn't do the infinity mirror thing, but I found that. That's the link. Okay. So we'll do a writing because people want to do writing today. I'll do writing. Give the people what they want, yeah? Okay. Download it. Yep. And like, I really gotta change that so like it opens with Adobe instead of like whatever else. Oh, it's still downloading. How large is this file? Oh, because I'm streaming, my internet's slow. Duh. Right? Well, it doesn't really matter. I guess I'll do it. Why not? Since we have live and you are in the stream, I'll go through. Yeah, well, we could do that. We could do how I would do a reading passage and how I would do a writing passage. Sure. And hopefully this will be this probably is a test I haven't done. Maybe. Okay, live. Okay. Show cover page and 2 views. Okay. So yeah, guys, I will just go through this whole one passage in the reading, one passage in the writing, and I'll probably call it a day. Unless you guys have like really want to ask other questions, which is fine. Okay. So the quality isn't maybe so great. So I will reiterate that. Yeah, it's in the chat, but I'll put it up again. Yeah. Whoops. Why did it just copy the word international? That's dumb. Okay. So that's the PDF. So right now I'm just going to go through a reading test, a reading passage, and also a writing passage. Yeah. Okay. This is really not the greatest quality. Okay. Yeah, we'll do the writing first because you asked for writing. And then, yeah, we'll see. Whatever your time. Okay. So the writing section. I'll do one by one. Oh, and then I'll zoom in more. Okay. So the writing section, you just jump right to the passage and you read. Who's adagio? Is it anyway? I have no idea what that is. But you read the passage and you do the question one at a time. As the story goes, it was 1948, and musicologist Renzo Remo Gerzato was about to blank a stack of unneeded documents. Actually, I think I might just doing the writing, because I don't get a chance to teach writing as often, and I do want all my subscribers to have as much info as possible. Please. Did my screenshot function just die on me? Yes, it did. It's okay. Right here. Got it. Cool. Okay. So this is how I want you guys to study. I know this is like last minute tips, but like this is how you should have been studying. So, number one. This is what SAT calls register question. Okay. Which really doesn't have any meaning for a lot of people. This, in regular words, this is formality. So you guys have probably seen this question type. What's wrong with it as it is? It is way too informal, too casual. SAT will almost always go with a more formal and more professional sounding word. So, he was about to throw away a stack of unneeded documents. Junk. That's, okay. So the answer here is D. Discard is the regular, plain way to say it. Okay. Do away with is, again, informal, slangy. Banish is way too dramatic and extreme. Banish is to, like, send to some realm that you're not ever able to come back from. So that's banish. Okay. So that's done. Next. He was about to discard a stack of needed documents for research on Venetian composer Tommaso Albiani when okay. So, again, identify what's wrong with it as it is. A. That's wrong. Why? You never have comma on just one side like this. So you can either have comma, name, comma, or you have name, no comma, no comma. That's it. Having one comma is not an option. That's just not a thing. So if I have two commas around a thing, that means what? It's kind of like having parentheses. That means I can take it out. If I don't have commas, that means I can't take it out. So A is out because I just have one comma. Okay. And then C, I do have commas. So if I have commas, take it out and see the sentence. Does that make sense? So can I say, research on Venetian when no, I can't take that out. Yeah. And then D is out. I actually explained this earlier today. If I have a colon, the stuff to the left of the sentence must be a finished sentence. So can I just end the sentence as composer? No. So the answer here is B. And typically, guys, just to give you a shorter way to do it, names, you do not put commas around them. Because you need the name to know who it is. You need the name to know, like, who are they talking about, what are they talking about. Yeah. Okay. So I'll try to go through this a little bit more quickly. Okay. Oh. Okay, and then number 3. Number 3, these, honestly, guys, like, these are, like, a little bit unfair, almost, because, like, it really depends on how long you've been speaking English and how much of a native you are. The answer to number 3 is C, because fragments of notated music dating to, that's just a word pair. Like, if I want to say, this is how old this thing is, it dates to, it's just dating to. That's the only option. English only allows for dating to, not other pairs, because that's how it is. Okay. Like, if I'm saying, like, oh, I can't do this anymore, I give up. You have to say, I give up, right? It's give up. That's the whole phrase. You can't say, oh, I can't do this, I give down. That doesn't make sense. All right, next. Sentence 4. This is a very good explanation, example of, it's not enough to just read whatever's given. Because a lot of times people just, like, read whatever's given and they, like, just, like, stop there, and that's why they get things wrong. So, they want to know what sets up the impression. Next sentence. What's the next sentence? He wrote new material where the fragment broke off while remaining faithful to the Baroque style of Albiani's time, which favored blah, blah, blah. Okay, so he wrote new stuff, but he still remained loyal to the original style. Okay. So, the answer here to number 4. I remember this. Okay. Excuse my not so smooth transitions on my screens, but it's okay. Number 4. Trap answer here, guys, is B. A lot of people put B. Like, oh, yeah, so if I do that, you have to be careful. Yeah. But does careful mean these things? No. So I want to be able to justify every part of my answer tree. So the answer here is indeed A. Composer. Why? New material. Historian. Why? Faithful to his time. I want to be able to justify each of those. Number 5, I'm really, really glad that I'm going over this. No, you read the whole thing. For the writing? I noticed you got a question. You do read the whole thing, but you just read it in order. You do the questions as they come up. Okay? Does that make sense? You do the questions as they come up. For the writing section, you do not need to read the entire passage before you do the questions. But do make sure to read the title. Okay. For number 5, okay. I'm going to zoom in like extremely here. So, oh, Ibrahim left, but there's who have been on the channel a little bit or who had lessons with me. So this one, I would have made a quick and dirty video about if I were doing writing, but I've been doing reading almost all the time, right? This one, I don't have to go back to the passage. Can you guess what the answer is for number 5? Without looking at the passage? I mean, you can't, because I'm only showing the question here. Maybe. So this would be something that at my day job, right, and when I tutor all the time, like, this is the question that you really, really need to get right, like, every time. Any guess? No? Let's see. Because this is plural. That's plural. Good, yeah. Right, and then that's plural. And that's singular. I'm almost willing to bet this is like 100% thing. If I have one thing that's singular out of all the plurals, it's the one that stands out. Yeah, let's see. Because they test singular and plural is probably one of the number one things they test. So, yep. And if you've been studying for a while on the SAT, you would know, for the ACT as well, right? Subject-verb agreement, they do this all the time. So you have the verb here. Okay. And so what is the, yeah, it's just the organ plays. So the organ plays. All the other ones are plural. Yeah. Okay. And number 6. Punctuation. Good. Yeah, feel free to guess number 6 or just answer number 6 when the rest of the ensemble. 6 is not bad. So 6 would be, I'll give it 8 seconds because of the delay. I don't know if that was 8 seconds. Yeah. 6 is A. Because you have this, you don't really even have to worry. Yeah. Like, on the SAT, you don't have to worry about, like, do I have to use a dash here or something else most of the time? Because you see how there's a dash here after ensemble? Right? Why is this? Adobe is not. There you go. Okay. Yeah, we have this, right? Don't have to put a dash. Right? Dash and dash. And that's parallel. Yep. That's it. Now we're halfway through-ish. Okay. Which is most effectively sets up the main idea of the paragraph. So this one, I would actually do after number 8. Because in order for me to answer what's the main idea of the paragraph, I would have to read the whole paragraph, right? So I'm going to skip that for now. Let's read this whole thing. Okay. Okay. So I just, you can do it in whichever order. So I just read through the whole paragraph, and I want to answer this on my own for number 7. I don't want to be looking at the answer choices first because they can be badly written and misleading. So what's the main point of the paragraph? This was in a bunch of movies. This song, it was in a bunch of movies. So which one of these is this song was in a bunch of movies? Would be... Which one of these would be this song was in a bunch of movies? I'm looking at the chat. This song was in a bunch of movies would be... 7 is B. So I want to... Yeah. Right, I think it's the like. Right, like I have. This was in a bunch of movies. So 7B. Popular film. It was in a bunch of movies. Popular film industry. That's it. Okay. Okay, and then, so when I'm reading these, I'll just say to my head, what's the point? So the pieces provide a musical backdrop to dozens of films. So it's in a lot of movies. Next. It was in so many movies so it's like the same thing. So 8 is A. In fact is emphasizing, right? So that's it. Moving on to 9. Okay. When, while, since. Okay. So I don't really want to do like a detailed reading comprehension on these because why would I want to? You want to save time as much as possible. So for number 9, the sentence at the very minimum I have to read is, Giazzaro had long maintained Adagio was an inspired tribute. He finally maintained and admitted. Okay. So this has to be contrast. Really, the key is admitted, right? Like, oh, like, he said that it wasn't him, but he admitted it was him, right? Okay. So, which one of these is a contrast? C. Good. Yep. Okay, Gabra is forever. We have joined. Cool. We have more people in the chat. And number 10. More, oh, I like this one, actually. Number 10. Out. Probably, okay. So, for number 10, guys, why did I cross out A and B immediately? I don't even care about the rest of the sentence for number 10. Number 9 was C. Yep. There's a bit of a lag. Yeah, it was while, because that's the only thing that's a contrast. So going back to number 9 for a second. It was indeed C, because I said he claimed this and he admitted it. So he said this, but now he admitted. But, while, same thing. And number 10, I don't even have to read the rest of the passage, rest of the sentence, for me to immediately eliminate A and B. And they do this a lot. Oh, what's up, Lucas? Lucas the Greek, yeah? Okay. So for number 10, anybody have an idea why I would get rid of A and B altogether, like right away? And I am trying to take into account the whole. Yeah, it's the same thing. Right, they're both contrast. In contrast, nevertheless, they actually have this a lot. You would think like they wouldn't give such like easy like softballs. So like, nevertheless, in contrast, however, there are a lot of cases in which they give you as answer choices. Now, are they slightly different in meaning? Yeah. But if SAT were challenged, how come nevertheless works but contrast doesn't? They can't do that. So it's either C or D. Yep. And the answer here is indeed. Okay, hello. We have Gmain26. Hello. Yeah, the answer here is D. Because, let me erase some of this, right? He said he was indeed its only author. Right? It's now attributed solely. So since he's the only author, it's solely to him. So it's because, therefore, it's D, consequently. Yep. Okay, and next one. With decades of mislabeled recordings pushing to error, however, okay, I like this one. Like, I like the ones that are, I didn't capture all the answer choices, that are, like, very representative of common question types. Those are the ones I like doing, so that you guys can apply this knowledge for future ones. Okay. Very, very common. Okay. So this is what, if, however, is in the middle of a sentence, you put 2 commas around it. So it's this. So it's B. So all I have to recognize is that this whole thing is one sentence. With decades of mislabeled recordings perpetuating the error, this first part is not a sentence. The fictional Jazato's great discovery lives on. So this whole thing is one sentence. However, in the middle, that's 2 commas around it. That's just the rule. Okay. And those are, like, honestly easier. Like, you don't have to worry about the reason per se. Like, that's just a grammatical rule, so we follow the rule. Oh, that's it. That's one writing passage that I went through. Cool. Okay. So I think I probably have time to do maybe one more passage before we call it a day, because, yeah, we should call it a day. Although I have 6 people in chat, which is cool. Do you guys have a preference? What type of passage you want me to do? Like a reading passage, historical passage, literary passage, current social, etc., etc.? Is that a... Oh, it's a thumbs up, thank you. Alright, I just got a comment. Channel is underrated because of the title. Change it and it will grow. I think the comment is saying that that our channel is underrated because of our channel name. And if we change our channel name, it will grow. Maybe? Like, are we underrated? I don't know. Okay. Where are the most mistakes in the writing passages? So could I, oh, Elizabeth, can I do a historical passage? Yeah, I'll do a historical passage. I will do a historical passage. I'll do the one that you guys know already pretty well, just to demonstrate the point, although I didn't want to close that tab. I'll pull up the historical passage from SAT Test 1. So you guys have already seen this test. Probably, right? Almost everybody has already seen this test. Download. Please download quickly. Although it might not download super quickly because, again, I am streaming, which makes things a little bit slow, and I don't want to be... Downloads. Did it download? Maybe, maybe not. Yeah. Historical passage. Page view. The quality here is much better. Actually, I don't need to download. I can just do this. Where do most mistakes occur in the writing passages? In the writing passages, the most mistakes occur... Well, in terms of mistakes, people just getting it wrong. It's not necessarily where, but the mistakes occur. This is the main source of the mistakes for writing. Because people didn't read the entire sentence. So people just read, like, the first part of the sentence, and they just pick the answer. The writing section is the part where mistakes occur because people didn't read enough. Like, A, you should have read the entire sentence, or B, it's not just the sentence that is underlined, you have to read the sentence before or afterward to answer the question. Okay. Let's see. The history behind the historical passage. Okay, so I did upload a video recently, which was like every historical topic that comes up on the SAT, which did at the time cover every topic, but they do keep adding new ones. So, any tips for AMC math exam? Not really, just because it's been such a long time since I did AMCs. Because I don't teach math as the main thing. Okay. And I don't think I can do a Zoom call after this, because after this I also have to do college essays, because I do college essays. Okay. So, I will give you the shortened version of what's on the historical passage, which I already wrote, actually, because before you joined, Elizabeth. Okay. Okay. So, yeah. The historical passage, as I put over here, is almost always that there's something wrong with our world because people's basic rights are being violated, and therefore we gotta change this. We gotta go act. We gotta go fight, is the historical passage. And the big idea behind the historical passage is the idea of natural rights, that all human beings should have rights, and these cannot be given nor taken away by other people. So natural rights are a sacred value, literally sacred. This is the only part, really, that SAT ever brings up religion. That must be protected at all costs, is the main thing. However, with the historical ones, you have to be careful that if it's a double passage, then the other passage can say something that is not according to our modern values. So, for instance, as I was giving the example when I was writing this on the whiteboard, the first passage might be against women's education, and the second passage supports women's education. Okay. So, I'll go through this one. Did you give you guys an example of how these are structured? I'm pretty sure I did make a video about this, but they took it down. Very sad. I'm just trying to help people, you know? Why they gotta try to put me down like that? Okay. So. No, that's not right. Okay, I am gonna pull this up right here. Okay, it doesn't capture like the whole thing, but it's enough. Okay. So this is a historical passage, and as you guys know, with any passage, you want to read the blurb first, right? So this is how I do it. Wolf considers the situation of women in English society. So let me give you a little super quick breakdown of women's rights on the SAT. Late 1700s is the start of the women's rights movement, which is women should have rights so that they could better help men. This is the very beginning of the movement, right? Late 1700s. And then it goes into women should have rights because A, they're human beings, and B, it'll make society better. So if women can vote, women are educated, if women are able to get jobs, it would make society better. So women should get all of those things. And then when you transition to the early 1900s, which is this, right? Women have gotten certain rights and opportunities. So the late 1700s is women should have rights because it will be helpful for men. 1800s is women should have rights because it'll make society better. 1900s would be women have now gotten more rights than before. All the things are still not perfect. They've got more rights than before. What should women do with these rights? Okay? Women have now a responsibility to exercise these rights and go further than they were, is the idea. Okay? So by the fact is 1938, it's women have these opportunities now that they used to not have. And what are we going to do with that? So I'm going to kind of skip to the end of the intro here and highlight it. Now we are here to consider facts. Now we must. So if we read it literally, this is a pretty hard passage. That's why I'm doing this. Virginia Woolf says, let's look at the sons of educated men. Is she literally saying we have to look at men who are educated? No. But the topic here is, with women's rights, then what? Education. Okay. So, because it's 1938, again, that gives me the insight that women are able to get educated much more than they used to be able to. So what are they gonna do with this education? So let's just go to the... Normally I say to the people, read the conclusion, but you see how the conclusion is like this huge thing. Let's cheat a little bit, read the last few lines. From here to here. Let us never stop from thinking. Oh, the other thing. With the historical passage, it's us. We. Who is that? The oppressed. Or the fellow Americans vibe. Okay. It's going to be one or the other. So when I say we, it's going to be either patriotic, like fellow Americans, blah, 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 or we, the Native Americans, we, the black people, we, the woman, and so forth. Okay. So in this case, when she says we, it's let us women never stop thinking. What is the civilization which we find ourselves? So these are all the things that we have to think about. Okay. So women have to think about stuff. Women have to figure things out. Women have to now make decisions about society is a whole bunch of the passage. So after this, you should skim through the body paragraphs. But I'm not going to do that. Because I really want to do number 32, which is very important. Actually, number 32 is probably one of the most important ones here. Okay. So those of you who are in the chat, and you guys probably have done this test before. So if you guys have done this test, or you can look at it now. So the point of the passage here is that women have access to education, and now they have to think about how they're going to use this power. Okay. So what is the purpose of this historical passage? Never. If I have a single passage in the historical, that one is things are not good enough, we got to change the world. So traditions are probably bad. Yeah? Okay. And never D. These passages that are from the oppressed group, from the minority group, from the group that is under attack, it's going to be optimistic. It's gonna say things are difficult, but it's never going to say like it's impossible. Never. Okay. B or C? B or C. A lot of people, like, those sound both okay. This is not the purpose. C is true, probably. Okay. This is a very common trap answer. Okay. So I'll reword it. Things are bad. Okay. Versus we gotta act. So this is the question that I would really want you guys to kind of take into your brains, because once you figure out the main purpose of the passage, everything else becomes a lot easier. For the historical passages, what did I say was the point? I am trying to convince people we gotta change the world. So my answer is gonna be we gotta act. Answer choice C, which is things are bad, is really, really close. But when Martin Luther King gave the speech of I Have a Dream, was his purpose to point out that racism is bad in America? He did point it out, right? But what was his purpose? To convince people to stop being racist, right? So they do that all the time. The trap answer is going to be point out how bad sexism is, to point out how bad racism is. They do that. But why? So that we'll have to change it, okay? Similar example, like if I point out, like, this is a wonderful car, because I want to sell you the car. What's my purpose? To sell you the car, right? Same type of thing, okay? So it's, we gotta act. So the answer here is B. It's urgent. You gotta do it. Urgent. You gotta do it. Okay. So it'd be like these types of background knowledge things that I would focus more on rather than try to like comprehend everything literally. The central claim of the passage is that the answer here is I'll just skip you guys' answers. It's A. I can give you the evidence, but like notice how vague that wording is. Educated woman face a decision. I already know that because like I saw the ending of the passage, right? We got to think. What are you going to do? What are we going to do? And I don't love, but I don't really like it, to be honest. But like, if I'm doing the test, like, what does that even mean? Existing institutions. That should mean stuff. Things. I don't like B. Why? Only if. Okay. This probably is true, but not the main point. This is also actually the same thing. What is this? Things are bad. What is this? We gotta act. So 32 and 33 are pretty much the same thing. So 33C, things are bad. Not the main point. What is the main point? Woman gotta act. Okay? So, so those are out. Let me clear the board. Then we're left with A and D, right? Look how more specific D is. It will transform those positions. It'll be positions of power traditionally held by men. Whereas all this says is existing institutions. So the answer is A. Because if D is true, right? Wouldn't that still be A? Doesn't all the stuff in D fit under existing institution? I give the same example each time. So if I have the answer like, he ate food versus he ate a burger from wherever, then that can't be right. Because if he ate a burger, he ate food. Right? Yeah. The answer is A. Okay. And so okay. So the evidence for this is right here. The evidence is really saying we have to ask ourselves here now, do we women join the procession of it? So what was the procession? So I don't care about the details. I really don't. What do we have to do? We have to decide, do we want to join the men or not? Do we want to join the men or not? Is what we have to decide. So the answer is A. How to engage. Join it or not. Number 34, I don't need to go back to the passage, guys. And what is the word we? It's we woman, right? We are a team. We are sisters. It is teamwork, closeness, sisterhood. Or if it's men, it's brotherhood, camaraderie. Yeah, it's so C. And this is just vocab, really? See, solidarity is like camaraderie, brotherhood, sisterhood, all of that. And the other one, a lot of people put D, but candor just means honesty. But the answer here is C. We. Yeah, politicians now do this all the time. We. Like, we Americans, fellow Americans. Okay. 35, choose a setting of the... I don't care about this one, honestly. That one, I'm going to skip that one, because not because it's hard to do, but it's not important. It's really not. Actually, yeah, okay. He chooses a segment of the bridge because it's right here. An admirable vantage ground for us to make a survey was what the passage said. So admirable vantage ground for us to make a survey is it's a good place to look at things. That's vocab. Therefore, it's B. Vantage ground, make a survey turns into good view. And was it the educated men? Yeah, that was a paragraph, but like... Oh, they do this a lot, actually. We could eliminate. It's not A. Never. Fanciful means like you're just kind of like daydreaming. We don't daydream on the historical passages. Historical passages are very serious business. Out. These... Trap. Just because it's historical passage doesn't mean the answer is historic. Right? Just because historical passage doesn't mean it's legacy. Those are traps. But that one's really not that important, guys. Like, I don't care about that one too much. 36, I do care. 36 is D. Because this is why you want to have the background historical evidence. What did I say before, guys? 1700s, beginning of women's rights movement, which was women should have more rights so they could help men. And then in the 1800s, what is it? Women should have rights because they're human beings and they'll make society better. And what is it in the 1900s? Women are getting more rights now. What should we do with these rights? So number 36 is D. The procession was the sons of educated men. So nowadays, women can also become educated. So 36 is D. Okay. It's not A. That's definitely at Y. Men always had the influence. They don't have more all of a sudden now. B, has become a celebrate, has become? No. They've always had experience, influence. And also, why is it celebrated? Answer here, C. What one word throws out C, guys? In a group class, people talk. Oh. Does it? I don't know. So, and 37 is there. And I'll try to wrap this up relatively quickly, guys, as I go to the wrong test. Okay. Wolf characterizes the questions as both. For number 38, guys, B is out. B is always out. Oh, thank you, Elizabeth. I guess, yeah, he did answer. Yes, excuse the lag. Number 38, B is out. Why is it out? Anybody? Why would B, So you want to have in your head, like, over and over again in your head, right? What is the purpose of the passage? It's a women's rights passage in the 1900s. We have more rights now. We got to decide what to do. And we could probably change the world and society. And this is very, very important. Okay, I have all of those ideas. Can't be B because of the word unanswerable. Yeah, we as in woman, right? I don't like the word unanswerable. Because, like, we can do things is the point, right? Unless it was, like, unanswerable as it's like a philosophically impossible question. Okay. So, look, let me scroll back. Not scroll back. Jeez. Okay, there we go. What was the question? The question was, we have to ask, are we going to join or are we not? Why would that be unanswerable? Okay. And I know, oh, this is very common as well. So they asked for our question 53 to 57, which are from here to here. Of course you should read that, yeah? But a lot of times evidence is not in the lines given. Number of things. Number one. So what's the question? We have to ask, should women do this or not? Obviously, guys, I'm using the word obviously. I don't mean to be condescending, but like, it's C. This is every passage. Whatever it is that I'm talking about, it's important. Why else would I talk about it? Even more so, this is a women's rights passage. Very important, right? So momentous and pressing. Momentous will mean it's important. Pressing means it's urgent. And important questions turns into momentous. Very little time turns into pressing. So those of you who've been on the channel for a while and watched the earlier quick and dirty videos before College Board did me dirty and took them down, paraphrase, right? Paraphrase all the time. Important turns into momentous. Very little time turns into pressing. That's the evidence, right? But the background, again, is like, of course, the question that we women are thinking about is important. Why else would I write this passage? Okay. And number 40. The sixpence referred to in line 70 to 71. Okay. And 41. I think. Okay, do I want to go over these? Yeah, why not? Okay. The figurative sixpence. So for these, you do not want to be just plugging these in. You want to come up with a word or phrase of your own and then match these. It's very similar to the vocab and context question. So I don't want to be plugging these in, because if I plug them in, they can all kind of sound right. I don't want to do that. So say line 1771. Let's look. Okay. I'm going to start. They say 1771, but I want to get the context. Let's look at here. The daughters of educated men, aka the woman, have always under thinking from hand to mouth, blah blah. Women have thought while they stirred the pot, while they rocked the cradle. That woman won us, woman, the right to our brand new sixpence. It falls us to now to go on thinking how to spend that sixpence. What is it? Ability to get educated. Or, how are we going to spend it? Think we must. Let us think everywhere. Or the ability to think. Or, again, the broader background, this is 1938. What happened in the 1900s? Women start getting more rights. So, now, women have this newly won opportunity. Opportunity answer. A lot of people put B, knowledge, because that's kind of similar to the ability to get education, right? But the ability to get education is opportunity. So knowledge there is a trap answer. And that's almost always going to be the answer when we do these rights passages, right? With advancing times, we have now gained more rights, more opportunities, more chances, and so forth. It's not, yeah, they don't really make a big deal. We gain more knowledge. We gain the ability to get knowledge, aka to get educated. Yeah. And number 41 is... the trap answer here is A, because you know that it's woman, and you know that it's challenge. Novel means that it's new, though. Is this new? I don't know. Okay. It's definitely not D. Things are not great. It's not about things are being enjoyable. So either B or C. I like B because, this is the last thing I'm really going to leave you guys with. I say in the reading all the time, avoid the extreme answers. The extreme answers are to be expected in the historical passages. I've said this many times. The extreme answers are to be expected in the historical passages. Let me take you guys back. Okay. So I erased these. But number 32 was B. Stress the urgency of an issue. What is it? Women have to act, right? They have to act. We got to do it. Okay. What was number 33? They face a decision. They got to decide something, right? And then what else? What was number 38? Momentous and pressing. We got to act, right? It's urgent. 41 is B. We need to do this. We need to do this. And the evidence is trivial. 72 to 76. So we have think we must. And then we have let us think in here to here. Let us think in offices. So think we must in, what's the point? We got to think everywhere. So from the text we have to think everywhere we go all the time. So it's B. Everywhere all the time is pervasive. Pervasive means it's everywhere. So that's the historical passage. And yeah. I don't know if my Wi-Fi timed out or my phone timed out. Let me check. I don't know what's going on with my stream. Did my stream just end? No, didn't end. Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna excuse me. I'll go to the whiteboard and hopefully be able to clear the board. Okay. When should people... Yeah, so that's probably it today for me going over like entire questions and stuff. But when should people start studying for the SAT? Okay, the timeline will be anywhere from 4 to 6 months you are going to want to devote to the SAT. 4 to 6 months. So, now, in terms of grade level and stuff that you want to start with, that would really depend on your timeline. How many APs are you taking? How many schools are you applying to, etc. But you would want to devote at least 4 to 6 months for the SAT. I would say... the ideal is this is what most people recommend. You study the summer before your junior year, right? And you take it during junior year so that you're done with it before senior year. But it really depends. It really depends. Like, you could totally do it after junior year, right? Study for it during this, let's say, like, starting, like, May of junior year when you're kind of done with school stuff, right? And then start studying then and like try to take it by like August and September, November. Although that does leave you with very little time to have it in time for earlies. Depends. It also depends on your school load because your junior year GPA is the most important. On average, the admissions officers will say that your junior GPA is about 40% of the importance of the application in terms of GPA. So you don't want to be overloading yourself with work during junior year because the GPA is really important. I have a SAT and yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm doing the chat today, right? What should we do for preparation for a test? Oh, guys, like, the test is on Saturday, right? Which is in 2 days. So it's okay for you guys to study today. Tomorrow, like, don't really do too much because, like, SAT is not like, oh, I memorized one more word, so I'm going to do better type of thing. It's not a fact-based test. So do try to, like, exercise would be good, actually, the day before in terms of, like, being able to sleep well and stuff. Okay. You're gonna go to sleep? Yeah, that's fine. I'm gonna probably be closing up the stream. I think this is the longest I've streamed actually, like ever. Taking one more attempt tomorrow, right, to have it in time for the earlies. You are a senior. Like, you could theoretically. You're welcome, Elizabeth. Yeah, and well, I'll do these streams pretty periodically, so. Oh, thank you, Eric. You're senior. Yeah, so Chris, you could theoretically keep taking it because, like, even after you submit an application for early, as long as you have the application in, they will also accept your test scores after. But obviously, it's much better psychologically to know your score by, like, October, I would say 15 to 20-ish, before you hand in your earlies for November 1st. Yeah. Okay. So do we have any other questions or concerns on anybody from the chat? Let me just check one last time in the email. And I don't think I'll be uploading this live stream to the channel itself because I'm trying to lay low a little bit. I suppose not, although I'm trying to give a little bit of allowance for the lag. Yeah, this was the first time I did a live stream this long, and it's also the first time I did live stream on my own. It's just at my house instead of the whole studio. And yeah, so excuse me if that was things were like not the smoothest. Random questions are yes, very good question actually. Nobody knows even what CLEPs are, right? CLEP, CLEP. I think I might have mentioned this in one of my videos, guys. CLEP exams are really good actually. If this is the if you have to weigh your cost and benefit, like how much time would I have to put into it and how much benefit would I get out of it, right? But CLEP is really good because it's much more flexible than AP. Because if you guys don't know what CLEP exams are multiple choice exams that you can take. And if you get a certain score, it's the equivalent of taking a college course in that subject, right? And it's multiple choice. I believe it's like a 3-hour test. So, and you can take it like almost any time. Unlike the AP, which we have to wait. It's much more flexible. Because they are fairly easy. So it doesn't have as much like prestige as an AP. Because they know it's not as big of a deal, because AP you'd have to take the class for the whole year, right? And they're advanced. For CLEP is still good because A, a lot of people don't take it. So it'll make you different from other people, right? And B, they will give you much more flexibility than AP, because you might not be able to take all these subjects in AP because of the time constraints, right? But CLEP, you can sign up for any time. So it'll allow you to kind of fill up the stat sheet, so to speak, in a bunch of subjects, right? And C, it still gives you college credit. Yeah, most colleges will accept CLEP. I don't want to say all though, because that is highly dependent on the college policy. Yeah. For example, for AP, certain schools will accept even a score of 3 for a full credit. Certain schools only accept 4 and 5. Or, for AP again, when I was attending community college, for my AP chemistry course, the community college gave me 8 credits. But Columbia, I think, is giving me 3 credits. Yeah, so, depends. But most colleges do accept CLEP, yes. Now, what is their cutoff for accepting it, in terms of scores? How many credits will you get will be dependent on college policy. Yeah. But yeah. They do that, right? They only accept 4. And, like, I kind of get that, though. Because, like, if you look at a curve for AP, For a score of 5 is around like 70%-ish. Score of 4 is somewhere in the 60s. So a score of 3 is like low 60%-ish, right? So I kind of get the rationale of only accepting 4s and 5s, which does make it more difficult. But yeah. Oh, and like the last thing is like just financial reasons. Yeah, you will want to get as many credits of whatever you can beforehand. Because when I was in community for 2 semesters, I think I paid around $3,000 for 2 semesters. At Columbia, 1 credit is $2,000. So, oh, Hank. Hello, Hank. Any tips for nerves? Okay. It's really difficult to like really mind control yourself for nerves, in my opinion. Unless you're the type of people who can like, well, I'm religious, so praying would help for me. Or like you meditate. All right. If not the case, I would say any tips for nerves? Like, okay. So you want to sleep very well the night before. So working out a little bit the night before, getting a pretty good dinner, sleeping by 10 or 11 p.m. would be good. And after you wake up, kind of waking yourself up a little bit. You don't want to work out in the morning because you don't be tired, right? But maybe some rounds of like jumping jacks or like push-ups, body weight squats, etc. Would be a good thing to just get your body's like blood and hormones and endorphins flowing. Otherwise, the mind control bit is like, Because, like, honestly, at the end of the day, like, the SAT, whatever score you get on a particular SAT test is not the end of the world. Like for instance, I got a 2400, like, on the old SAT, I got a perfect score, but I ended up dropping out of college when I was younger. On the other hand, like, I ended up going back to school, like, 10 years later, right? So there are also other paths. So you can try to think about it like that, but in terms of more practical advice, it's just physically treat yourself well. Yeah. You just can't. That's the thing. We don't really have too much time. I don't know. I'm looking at my watch. We don't have too much time in terms of like, because the test is on Saturday, right? You would want to rely more on, okay, what kind of passage is this, and what kind of passage have I seen that's similar to this? Okay. So, Elizabeth, I'm kind of self-promoting here, but this is why I made the videos. So I made the whole video on like every SAT reading passage in like 5 minutes or 4 minutes or whatever it was. Do actually look at that video if you haven't, because if I don't understand a passage, I want to refer to, okay, this is a current social passage, which I know because it is the second passage and the years are relatively recent, and I know that the current social passage goes one of 3 directions. And I might not quite understand the entire thing that they're saying here, but I do think that it is this out of those categories. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, I would just try to rely back on, like, those categories. Like, for example, bigger picture idea, like, okay, this is a research passage, and they talk about this is a common idea. They're probably saying the common idea is wrong, and recent research suggests otherwise from the common idea, right? Like, falling back on those categories. And you just can't understand in the first read. I would say focus again. I say this for everybody, right? Because it's so important. Blurb, conclusion, right? Blurb, conclusion, and think back on what kind of passages have I seen in the past, right? That are similar to what's going on here. Like, for instance, like the historical passage I just did, right? The Virginia Woolf one. The language here is, like, not easy at all. It was a science passage? Oh, okay. For the August. Was that August SAT? Let me see if I can pull that up. Yeah, you do not know what the topic will be out. But let's see. SAT August 2022 PDF. Let me see if this is available. No, the international one's available, but not the... I don't think so. But... No, I don't want to pay $7, bro. No. Okay. Let's actually then go to whatever I had pulled up here, which this was not the best quality, but let me look at a science passage. For instance. Yeah, August date and release. Okay. I mean, hopefully, Elizabeth, like, it'll fall into, like, the patterns and categories that we talked about. Like, you can see here from the blurb how this would be really similar to, like, what we've been talking about, right? The blurb. The new ecology, rethinking a science for Anthropocene. I don't know what Anthropocene means, but there was probably the old way of thinking about things, and this is now the new way of thinking about it, right? So, line 3, he began to question the notion ecosystems are self-contained. So, probably it's not self-contained. Okay, let me see what the other science passage on this one is. Hopefully that can be... Actually, no, these are not. It's complex. Because, like, the gene that paints birds red, so this is probably genetically why birds became red. Like, that's not too bad. However, the ending here, the conclusion, this is pretty common as well. Let me just give you, like, I know this doesn't quite answer your question, but let me just give you this. The science passages, a lot of times at the end, it's like, we talked about, for example, they talk about bugs, right? The bugs have whatever this type of ability. I don't know if this happened in the August test, but the bugs have this ability, and the conclusion goes like, so why do they have this ability? Probably because it was evolutionarily advantageous for whatever reason. So that's a very specific common organization that they follow. Yeah. So in this case, right, so they talked about why the birds are red, the genes that are red, blah, 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 right? And then in line 85, they asked why. The answer probably involves mating. So if they did ask, I don't know if they did here, they did ask what is the purpose of the last paragraph, it's to speculate on the potential advantages of a particular adaptation. Right. Yeah. Did they ask about the last paragraph here? I don't think I've done this test. Have I not? No. I don't think so. No, they do not ask about the last paragraph. Oh well. Okay. Yeah, well, Chris, it really would depend on how much time you have. Yeah. Right. Like, if you are not really finishing the test on time and you're going to be rushing the last passage, you might as well leave your worst one till the end, right? And for the worst one, you might want to utilize more of your ideas of, like, okay, let's, for example, if I did historical, I'm like, okay, it's probably talking about, like, how we gotta, like, work on rights and stuff, and they're gonna be, like, angry and, like, upset or determined, optimistic, like, those types of vibes, right? Yeah. Yes, the older passages are harder, yes. Because on the SAT, there will be one passage in particular, like, almost all the time, that'll be from much older, like 1700s, 1800s. That's what I call the historical passage. That'll be either passage 2 or passage 4. They are significantly harder. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's good chatting with you guys. I think this is the most back and forth that I've had in my live streams. It's kind of fun. Do you guys have any other questions on reading, writing, math, SAT, passage types, approach? Is that a Maltese? That's a poodle. Oh, okay. I was like, I don't have a dog. I think I'll double science passages? Science passages are usually just presenting to us information, right? And the majority of the time, it's going to be passage 1 presents a particular theory, and passage 2 presents an alternate explanation. Now, I don't want you guys to rely on that 100%, but that is the most common construction. Okay? Or it could, yeah, so you want to focus more on how do they differ than how are they similar. So it could be, passage 1 thinks that tiger numbers are getting better. Passage 2 is like, are you sure? Right, that type of skepticism. But, even on those guys, this is what I want you guys to be careful about. Science passages, even if it's double, they rarely argue against each other directly because science passages don't really argue. Because science 1, let's say, passage 1 says, tiger numbers are on the rise. Passage 2 says, we don't know. right? So it's not directly against. Or let's say passage 1 says plants can talk. Passage 2 presents to us a bunch of people who are very angry about the idea that plants can talk. But the author of passage 2 is just like, yeah, these people are angry. But the author of passage 2 himself is not angry. Okay? So it'll be like the first passage is more optimistic, second passage is pessimistic. The first passage is pretty sure, the second passage is a little bit more skeptical. Will be the typical relationships. Okay. And yeah, dogs are cool. Yeah, dogs are cool. I think that's about it because I actually haven't eaten dinner. Although I think I might skip dinner and just work out because I should become healthy. Yeah. Oh, yeah. What is the biggest inference? Okay. Actually, let me pull up it. Let me see if there is an inference question on this thing right here. Let me just scroll through and find an inference, and yeah, that'll be. Okay. It's not necessarily you want to when you study, you want to break it down a little bit more specifically than just inference question. Because inference question just means that this was not directly stated in the passage, so it's inference plus whatever else category. Okay. For example, here, number 11. Okay, this didn't print well because I don't know what source. So it's supposed to say, it can most reasonably be inferred from the passage that researchers designed their selfless experiments with the assumption that. So this is, what kind of assumptions do people make when they set up their experiments? Yeah. So, this one, the inference part is not as important for this one, for example. This is, people set up the experiment thinking that this will give me useful information on the thing I want to know about. Yeah. So, number 11 is probably, it's probably D. Yep, it is. Yeah, that one's D. Okay. So with the inference questions, you also want to say that just because it's inference doesn't mean like we don't have direct evidence. It's gonna be about this level. Let's say I had this one today from a question I did earlier with the lesson. The textual evidence was most marketers think color is the best choice all the time. Okay, so that was the sentence in the text. So we have the text that says people think color advertisement good always. Okay. Okay. Then the inference here was black and white is not typically used. This is actually a very good example. It's like around that level of inference that we're going to do. Okay. So the text said, people think that color is always the best option. That most likely reasonably means that they don't do black and white too much because they think color is the best. Right? Like that level. Yeah? Not anything too crazy in terms of the inference. Okay? Because sometimes people think, oh, it says inference so that I can like infer like anything. No, you can't like infer like anything. Right? Like, let me see if there's another inference. Inference. Please, why is there no inference? Still no inference? This was test number 1. Maybe they didn't really infer too much. Huh, they literally didn't. But then the thing is, I want to make this point too. People notice the inference questions when they say it can most reasonably be inferred, but there are a bunch of questions that fall into the inference category that don't use those words. Like if I say, these are kind of more obvious. It is most likely true. It is suggested. It is implied. Yeah? So the same thing here. The author passage most likely respond to. That's an inference. Right? Because in the text, author passage 2 did not respond to passage 1. Didn't happen. So it's an inference. So that is an inference. Okay. Any other questions? I think I'll take one more. Because it's almost 11. And I'll give it like 20 seconds because there's a delay in the chat, as I've spoken about. How do you go about questions like number 50? Ah, okay. Hmm. 50. Okay. Let's do the probability. This will be the last question I go over, and I'll call it a day, guys. Ask what author would respond. Yeah. You have to first identify what type of passage is this. This is a. I'll do double screen here. Yep. This is a science, right? This is a science passage. Let me erase, please. Okay. There we go. Blah blah blah. Okay. So this is an inference question, right? This is science. Okay, what does that mean? Not extreme. Okay. And not. Like, it is argumentative, but like, oh. Not confrontational. Okay. So, let's look at the double passage first. Page view. Okay. Blurb. And you guys asked about the whole passage in science. It's a pretty good example, actually. Passage was adapted from Michael Slezak's Space Mining, the next gold rush. Well, what is this? Is this thing potentially really, really good? So, passage 1. Optimistic. I'm cheating a little bit because I know it is. But, if I'm actually doing the test. So, right here. Companies are eyeing this. Others want to do this. So, this thing is potentially going to be a lot of money. So that's from the last paragraph. So you guys see that? It's potentially going to be a lot of money. Okay? What's a mistake? Potential. That makes it much more likely that this one's going to be a little bit more reserved. A little bit more neutral. A little bit more balanced. Skeptical. Okay? So that happens a lot, right? So first pass is very like sure, certain, positive, etc. The second one's like, I don't know, man, maybe. Okay. And this is a key. Line 53. But before minor start for, whenever I see the word but, I'm making an important point after. We should pause for thought. Okay. What's passage 2? We gotta think first. So that overall, I don't need this particularly just to answer number 50, but I will want to have that for the entire passage. Okay. So let's look at the last paragraph. Last paragraph, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Again, you see the word but, line 83. I'm going to say important things after that. You know what? I'm going to screen cap this because it's easier that way. Okay. Because that's that important, the last paragraph. Okay. But miners have much to gain from a broad agreement. Okay, agreement is good on the poor profit exploitation of space. Without consensus, claims will be disputed, investments risky, and the gains made insecure. It is all our long-term interest to seek one out. So what did I have for the second passage? We got to think first. What else do we have to do? We got to think, and we need agreement. Without it, bad. Okay? That's my main point of passage 2. Which I was able to get from the last paragraph. Okay. So I said all of that, right? Yeah, no, this is the last question. Diane, I'm okay. I'm okay. Because, yeah. It's honestly like, if I were doing this because I was like, this is like, I'm working, like, yeah, I'd be a little tired, but like, YouTube is different. It's fine. Okay. So number 50. Which is all the way here. So author of passage 2 will most likely respond to the discussion by claiming that. So the future mentioned by guy 1, 18 to 28, that's probably like a bright future with like a bunch of money. Let's see, 18 to 28. Let's see. Within a few decades, these firms may be meeting earthly demands for precious metals such as platinum and gold. They'll be getting money, right? They'll be making gold. Okay, so this is an optimistic version of the future. So what would passage 2 say? Answer here is B. Okay. Now, if I were doing this, I know I'm taking a long time with this question because I'm trying to explain as much background information as I can to you guys, so you guys can take any of these things and answer the question. Okay, let's take it out. Let's take out C, because first of all, technologies that do not exist, that was not mentioned in the passage, right? And secondly, cannot be is pretty extreme. It's pretty extreme. Okay. Same thing for D. Seems certain to affect it in a negative way. It's too extreme. Because the whole point of passage 2 was like, we gotta pause and think, right? Gotta pause and why are you going so small? Okay, yeah. Okay. So the answer here is B. And honestly, you want to first look. I don't really want to read too much through the answer choices because then I can get like super tired. So what's the point of passage 2? We need agreement. It's bad to not have agreement. B. We need agreements. Except just without agreement, instead of agreement, they say regulations. It's the same thing. Okay. It is 11:01. So I will kind of wrap this all up, guys. So for the reading, I want you guys to just focus more on what is the passage type, topic, and purpose, like I said before, and sticking to your background knowledge, okay? If I don't understand the passage too well, reading it super carefully on the data test is not necessarily going to help that much. Just think back more on, okay, what kind of passages have I seen? Is it similar to what I've seen? Or what's more likely or less likely from my experience? Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Chris. And Chris, I don't do Discord because I'm old. Have I ever done Discord? I don't know if I've actually have. Like, I did a little bit when I was, like, in college-ish. But, like, there has to be a erase the whole board option in the whiteboard. But, yeah. Okay. Okay, you're welcome, Chris and Elizabeth and everybody else who joined. I'm gonna actually, hold on. Perhaps, hold on. Let me blow my face up a little bit. Maybe I look older now. Yeah. Yeah. So, thanks for coming in, guys. My hair is a mess and all of that. It actually is. I need to organize this. Okay. But thanks for coming in, guys, for the live stream. I do hope that some of that was helpful. Well, hopefully all of it was helpful. And good luck on the test on Saturday. I will be doing these live streams, like, especially before the test, pretty regularly. And also on Sundays, usually at 9 p.m. are the live streams. So my channel doesn't have the ability to make announcements yet, so I'll just probably be uploading shorts to announce it. Or you guys can follow my Instagram, which will also put up posts for these things. Thanks for coming by, guys. I don't think I really needed to an outro here because I can't upload these. Yeah. So, yeah, thanks for coming in, guys. Good night and good luck. Oh, if you guys haven't, like and subscribe to the whole channel, right? The whole YouTube vid. And please do email or DM or leave a comment and whatever it is that you guys want to see covered in terms of SAT, ACT, college apps, etc. And I'll get to work on it. Good night, guys. See you guys. Thanks for joining. The whole outro thing is a study every day with SexyJ, the best way, you guys know. Good luck on Saturday. Bye-bye.